We've talked a lot about revising, and most of you already know that revision is a lot more than inserting a word here or a phrase there. You know that revision means to re-envision, to see something in a whole new way. When writers can see a picture in a whole new way, they can write in a whole new way. Of course, this is very hard work. Once you have a picture in your head of how something goes, it can be difficult to see it in another way. This is why writers often take a first draft and put it aside for a small stretch. When writers put a draft aside, they keep thinking and even talking about it, exploring new possibilities for how that piece could unfold. Then they start fresh with a blank piece of paper. They write a new draft, incorporating all their new thinking and insight. Today, we're going to look at an example of a flash draft and the writing process that the author went through to create a rough draft. So a flash draft is when an author sits down and they just write their whole story in one sitting. They just quickly get those ideas out. And then they put it aside and they keep thinking about it. A couple days later, they go back and then they write again on a blank piece of paper the same story, the rough draft. So this story is about an author's younger sister and herself, and how she ignored her dad's directions and wound up destroying the garden. When the author was finished with her flash draft, she reread it, and she was confused as to what her story was really about. She struggled with finding out the real meaning of the story. Is it about her relationship with her sister and how growing up she always felt more like a mom than a sister? Or is it about her realization that her dad would always help her sort out problems, even when she did not listen to him? What is your story really about? Have you thought about that? What's your theme? Maybe you're thinking about other people in your story and how your piece could be the type of relationship you have with one of those people. Your theme might be about friendship. Or maybe you're thinking about how the events in your story changed you in some way, changed what you know or how you think or how you feel about something. Your theme could be about growth as a person. Or maybe you're just thinking about the big feelings in your story. Maybe it's about feeling really sad and how we deal with those feelings, or feeling really excited and how to deal with those feelings. Right now, think about your draft or story, one of them, and decide what is your story really about. It might be more than one thing right now. Take a moment and write them down on a piece of paper. Just jot what you think your overarching topics are, your overarching themes. Today, I want to teach you that when you let yourself be guided by the "what is my story really about" question, you find yourself wanting to tell your story in a completely new way. You plan and rehearse your new draft in ways that will hint at the larger meaning early on in the story. So I'd like you to take the story that you wrote your draft about, and now that you have your list of themes, pick one theme that you want your story to teach, and try and write a new draft on that same story, and see if you write it in a completely new way. I know that this is difficult. I know that we're not used to writing two drafts of the same story, but I want you to give it a try. So in your narrative journal, you're going to put draft 2 at the top of your entry and rewrite one of your stories. I can't wait to see your new version.